Very difficult, quite scary to speak about such a senior, such a great musician who I think people like me were fortunate to share the dais with. These are people like KAMALAKARRAO sir, are artists who we have watched from the audience from a very young age in wonderment and in awe. And later we had the privilege of being on stage with them, sharing the dais, sharing music, and also interacting, learning, and having multiple conversations. So I'll first say that before I say anything else. KAMALAKARRAO sir has two parts, the personality and the musician. I'll first talk about the musician. The first thing that struck me when I heard him first was the balance between his right and his left, his Valandalai and his Topi. Very, very rare and very, very beautiful balance between the sounds of the two sides of the Mridanga. And this comes from multiple things. It's my understanding with my limited knowledge of Mridanga. It comes from being able to listen in a way that unifies the two sounds. When KAMALAKARRAO sir Mridangam is heard, you hear both as one sound, as one element. And this is phenomenal because in that comes a saukyam that you don't get in the independence of the two. KAMALAKARRAO's sound is, I will say, saukyam all over, irrespective of what kala pramadam he plays, irrespective of with how much aritham he plays, irrespective of the decibel level. The chances that the decibel level increases, that the saukyam level will generally retreat. But in KAMALAKARRAO sir, even if he is playing the biggest farans, huge tirmanams, it will always be saukya. And I think that comes from the fact that at no point in his artistry there is a rush or, and as they say in Tamil, an avasaram. There's never that. So everything is seated and settled in a way that you don't even realize the speed. That is the deceptive part. With KAMALAKARRAO, you don't realize sometimes the speed of his farans because you hear it with the same peacefulness that you will hear a Nadindina. This about his sound. I mean, I'm going to say this out publicly. I think among all the disciples of Palghat Maniyar, if there's one disciple who I would say has been incredibly close, incredibly within, incredibly consumed with the Palghat Maniyar Bani in his playing, and he's been able to internalize it in such a beautiful manner, it is Shri KAMALAKARRAO sir. I'll say this publicly anywhere, it has to be said. The other disciples of Maniyar have found something else through different kinds of explorations. But here is something very special. How does a musician stay within the framework of such a giant, who has made such a statement, yet find within that something of his own? Now, this question only he can answer. I cannot answer that question. But I think it's an important thing for all of us to think about. Because many times when we think we want to find something, we think we have to go this way. But KAMALAKARRAO sir went this way. The deeper he went into the Bani of Palghat Maniyar, the more he found himself. How is that possible? That's again something, it is a philosophical question. It's not just a musical question. And I think that is something very beautiful about KAMALAKARRAO sir. Is that his Bani, his style is so much completely within the Palghat Maniyar framework. Yet, I will say it is KAMALAKARRAO's own playing. And I think KAMALAKARRAO sir has added dimensions to the thought process of Palghat Maniyar. When he played, irrespective of what the kirtanam was, the way he would come in and go out. He would play sollus and go out. KAMALAKARRAO sir was with always the composition. He was within the composition. Even if he played how much of sollus, he made a little, sometimes konjam kanakku vaasiparu nadunula. even that seemed like being part of the kirtan. That again comes from the fact that he sings the songs. He sings the music. He sings the kirtan. That is when you know music. Please listen to Kamalakarrao play. The sound of every kirtana is here, which is why his mridangam reflects it so beautifully. I want to say one thing. I do believe he is a musician who should have got so much more recognition than he has. And the reason he has not is because his playing has always been about the music and not himself. A very rare quality. Because the playing has been so much about the music, you tend to forget that he is the music and he is there contributing so much to the music. And that is also a reflection of the kind of person he is. I have not met any musician. I just thought for a second. I have not met any musician who is as generous, as honest, as kind, and as genuine and friendly as Sri Kamalakarrao sir. I don't know what, 5-6 generations younger than him. I don't even know how many. Yet, not for 1 second have I felt like I'm some little junior who he's doing a favor for. Never. I'm talking about on stage, off stage, casual conversations. I can pick up the phone and say hello and just have a chat with him. I would call him a friend. And it's not easy to call a person who's so senior to you a friend. And I think that is why he is who he is. A wonderful human being who speaks with a kind of integrity that is rare for human beings. With a kind of honesty that is disarming, that at the same time never is rude, never is aggressive, but he says what he says. It's been, I think, just a privilege to have known this wonderful human being who I've learned so much from without him knowing I've learned from, by just listening to him, who has been so kind, who has been so wonderful, and I think he's a gift to the world of Indian art,